What's up, guys? Welcome to another brief intermission for the spooky season horror movie reviews. Though this is a horror movie, and it's a recent one. Technically, its opening day was yesterday, and I reviewed it yesterday, and that is Terrifier 3, and I'm very excited. And I want to do a spoiler talk, so as the thumbnail suggests, as the title suggests, this is filled with spoilers. If you don't plan on seeing the movie because, like, maybe you think you can't handle it, understandable. I guess you could stay, but I do recommend you see this movie. Just go into the movie knowing that it's insane, it's insanity, and there are some very graphic scenes. And with that said, that's where this movie shines. Specifically, the opening sequence of this movie, killing the kid, though it doesn't show it, you can hear it. Then it shows the body parts of the kid. That's fine. I didn't doubt the movie at all. I gave the movie an A plus, so I didn't doubt the movie at all for that. Um, but for some reason in my brain, that's what got my stomach turning a little bit, which was kind of surprising because that in of itself wasn't that hardcore of a scene. The actual hardcore scene, being the shower scene, I was fine watching, but for some reason, it being a kid, it set my stomach and my brain in a weird way. I don't know. It is unusual, though it really sets you into, like, okay, Art is this horrifying character that you may love him, but, like, and I do. He's a fictional character. I don't like actual serial killers. I'm going to this movie. You're going to this movie to see Art the Clown, okay? Along with the other characters, which I will talk about because holy, 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 Laura Rivera. We'll get to that in a minute. But the opening sequence sends you right in that this is a horrifying character. This is not a character that is tame. He has no rules. He has no morals. Though most serial killers don't, he is definitely different. The whole opening sequence, the cold open, I'll call it the cold open. The director has called it a cold open. I love it. It's obviously easily the best of the three because the other two didn't really have a cold open. This one did, and it was done masterfully. I mean, Damien knows what he's doing, and he has explicitly said that that cold open was to have people who've never seen any of the other movies and doesn't even know who the character is. You just go and you watch and you see that scene, and you can tell right off the bat who Art the Clown is. With that said, David Howard Thornton, as I mentioned in the actual review, is perfect in this movie. And I'm afraid that people kind of dock his performance due to the, having no lines. But I think that adds more value because you have to work off what your body can do. And his physical performance is amazing. The whole scene leading up to the shower scene with the two characters that are involved when they have the conversation where the girl who the podcast girl is like, what is it like to look in the eyes of that real evil? And he's kind of lurking in the background. And her boyfriend's like, you sound like you want to have sex with him. And she's like, no. And he's like, dude, it's hilarious. With that said, the Santa scene, hilarious. This is a funny character, that's true, but it does remind you from time to time that he's also evil. And that he also likes to use guns, and that was brought up with the Santa scene. That whole sequence was hilarious. And it was also like in its own way, like a brief moment because all the kills in this movie are pretty memorable. And that is a huge compliment. That is not me complaining. I went to this movie to see the amazing kills and the character doing it. And again, we'll get to in a minute the final girl. But yeah, no, the opening sequence is great. The kills were great in it. No major ones, but again, for some reason, it being a kid, it turned my stomach in a weird way. I didn't puke or anything. I was nowhere near puking, but it did make my stomach do like for whatever reason. I don't know. Just being a kid, it did that. And then it ends with, him staring at the little kid in the the hall, the cabin, and going, terrifying, bro. And rightly so, no pun intended. Oh, moving on. Major talking point, and that is Lauren Rivera. She is amazing in this movie. And I am so glad that she actually survived. There was part of me that thinking, okay, she might not survive this one, but then I was like, where are they going to go with the supernatural stuff? Like, how far are they going to go? And they dive deep into it. And they give you a little bit of nuggets of how this works. That being, in my theory and other people's theories, and I'm going along with it, of the little girl in the second one being a demon of sorts. And then Vicky being the associate of how Art is able to come back, which makes me extremely excited for the fourth one because Vicky's now dead, right? So does that mean that Art cannot even come back if he does die? The director, Damien, I've listened to a lot of podcasts the past couple of days just because I want to hear as much thoughts of him as possible because this movie was masterfully done by him. And he says he knows how this story is going to end, and there's not an infinite amount of movies, and it may be the fourth one that this movie ends with. And, I mean, this movie, it didn't answer every question, and that may be a major complaint of most people. But to me, I'm okay with character building. Like, I'm okay if you take your time telling a story as long as it's compelling. And these past two movies have been very compelling and very well done and very good. So I'm all in, and I'm all in for a fourth movie. I mean, I love this movie, and I mentioned even in my Conjuring 2 review that it's one of the best movies I've seen in a long time. Maybe since Top Gun Maverick, maybe since Oppenheimer. This movie's really good. And that is mostly because of the actual plot that these movies take you on, and the risks that these movies take. Oh my goodness, the mall scene, bruh. I was not expecting that. I didn't hear a word about that mall scene. And I mean, I watched spoiler-free interviews where people alluded to the shower scene and the opening sequence. No one talked about the mall scene. And it's not graphic. It is just an OMG factor of the movie. Oh my goodness, bro. Wow. They go all out bonkers in this movie. So basically, the mall scene, and if you're watching this, you've probably seen it, they blow up a bunch of children. They blow up a bunch of children. They blow up a part of a mall. They blow up what they said was at least 5 children. Wild. Okay, this is an evil character, and there was times where he's hard to love in this movie. And that's a good thing. Like, it's setting you in that, like, this is not a perfect character. This is a demented character. But I love it. And then there's the whole ending, which is where I'll end this video off of. I did love the ending too. I'm not gonna lie. But my biggest complaint, and I didn't dock it that much, I thought it was alright, and I mentioned in the the normal review, that there was a semi-unutilized character in this movie, and that was, boy, why can I now? Is it Ethan? I'm so sorry. I can't remember the character's name. Oh, Lord. There was Savannah, or Serena, or... You know what I'm talking about. My word. And I think her brother's name was Ethan. He was, unfortunately, to me, unutilized. But I didn't dock the movie at all for that because I can understand how it was hard to, like, incorporate him into this story. Especially after, the first one and how it happens and how he's coping with it. And then he is the people that introduce us to his roommate and his girlfriend, being the podcast girl. The roommate started out as a douchebag and then turned out to be really nice. And then he was almost a character that, like, you didn't want to see die. Like, And that's impressive to me. And people have compared him to the story work in the second movie, where it's being like they're brief on screen, but like they're genuinely like they have a heart in their characters. And I just remembered something I didn't even talk about, and I alluded to it in the review too. Brooke from the second movie, who got brutally murdered at the end of the second movie, um, shows up at the table in this movie, asking for the character to pass the rice. That scene was almost really darkly funny. Though you can truly see in that moment, first of all, Lauren Rivera's performance at its finest, and the true effect that something like that second movie, when you survive the way that it has on you. Overall, I'm gonna call the movie the one final thing. The ending scene, the last scene where he's on a subway and he goes with the horn, voodoo, and that's how the movie ends. And the girl is reading the Ninth Circle book. Fever dream for people who actually know this character, know where he came from the short film, The Ninth Story. On a subway, or like the area where you wait for a subway, and he honks the horn at a lady. You can also see a very similar looking character on an actual subway early in the movie, where he has the same looking makeup as he did in the Ninth Circle. This movie is a fever dream for fans. If you're a fan, you know the lore and you know the general of this character. It's amazing. Anyway, I'm gonna end the video here. Just wanted to talk some spoilers about this movie. I didn't even really get into the shower scene. The shower scene is self-explanatory. It's amazing. It's really well done. It's one of the best of the movie. One of the best maybe ever in a horror movie. It's extremely graphic, and if you're a man, you'll probably hurt a little bit afterwards. But, I'm going to call it here. Just wanted to talk some spoilers, and stay tuned for The Conjuring 3, hopefully coming within the next couple days. Alright, peace out, like and subscribe.